right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. And right here, we are actually joined by Jacksonville, Florida's own. That's right, we got the softer side right here, live on 99.9 FM tonight. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good, man.
Great.
Feeling great. Happy to chat with you tonight.
Hey, man, I'm happy to chat with you guys as well. I've been a huge fan for a long time, man. So just the fact that I get to chop it up with the softer side right here on my radio station airways, man, especially on a Thursday night as well, man, is definitely a blessing. So super stoked to get into the chat, guys. Thank you so much again.
Thanks for the invite. Thanks for having us. And now we'll have some fun here.
But I do know you guys are busy individuals, so of course I'm not going to take you away from your Thursday evening too long, but I got to take you back to the year 1999, where you guys actually came together to form this band. But before the softer side, I do know that you all were members of legendary North Florida bands from Inspection 12, Whaleface, Redline, and Hat Trick, and tons of other amazing legendary bands as well. I was wondering, how did all four legendary members from separate bands come together to form the supergroup we all know today as the softer side?
Supergroup, I like it.
Great question.
Good question. Yeah. I was actually in the softer side before Inspection 12. We formed in, like you said, 99. Scott and Brian had a band called Redline, and I used to go to their practices, and I feel like after the practice, I would sit in with them, and we just kind of started jamming together. And then I ended up joining Inspection 12 2 years later in 2001. But yeah, so it started with softer side for me, and Jeremy was in a band called Hat Trick, legendary from Jacksonville.
Absolute beast. And actually, Tim, I actually know you going back to, I think you were in junior high in a band called the Allergies, which some members eventually formed Inspection 12, which is crazy to think about. So, I mean, I think our roots, at least Tim and I don't know, we might go back the farthest. Maybe Brian too. Unfortunately, you can't be here tonight. But yeah, I think it was kind of just destined to happen. And we've known Jeremy for a while. I mean, I feel like the softer side and Hat Trick, we play the show almost every couple weekends together.
Yeah, we played a ton of shows back in the day. Actually, Tim and I kind of grew up in the same neighborhood. So I think we went, I don't know, you're a little bit older than me, Tim, but we went to a lot of the same, extended day activities and church camps and things like that way back in the day. So we were kind of, neighborhood acquaintances, so to speak. And, but yeah, Hat Trick and Softer Side played tons of shows together back in the day. So we've just sort of kept in touch over time. I joined Inspection 12 like 10 years ago. And yeah, here we are now, which is cool.
Was this the first softer side show? You see this? Oh, you can't see it.
It's our backgrounds, bro. We got to take the backgrounds out.
That's the Craig's brother Hat Trick softer side show, which I feel like might have been our first show.
First show all coming together. So yeah. At some point, this current incarnation of the softer side was going to happen. So
exactly.
And going back as well, when you actually mentioned the Allergies and whatnot, which is a very, very early band within your careers, is there actually any recorded music actually for the Allergies? And if so, can the fans actually somehow find that maybe on the internet so they can actually hear, the very early days of the very early evolution, of the softer side?
So we recorded a tape in Orange Park in Florida, and it's actually on YouTube. So if you look up The Allergies, Flapdoodly Molly Cobbler is the name of the album.
I love it.
Easy to remember.
You saw that?
But it is on YouTube, the whole thing.
Yeah,
and right there, a name like that is a one-of-a-kind album. Ain't nobody gonna steal that name. It's one of a kind. You type that in, you will find the Allergies.
Exactly.
Yep. And the amazing thing is, you guys ripped at that age. I mean, that was a good album. I don't know, man. I thought it rips. I think it holds up pretty well.
So Dan from Inspection 12 was in that band with me. We started in 7th grade. It was our middle school first. It was my first band. He was already in I-12 at that time. But yeah. So
Yeah.
And also as well, very early on actually as well, like a year after you guys came together, August 1st of 2000 in the millennium, you guys actually released your self-titled EP that was actually recorded at Hole of the Pigeon Studio out there in Jacksonville, Florida. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this earlier released album, and what was it like just recording at Pigeon very early on within the Softer Side's history?
Same guy we just recorded with.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Hole the Pigeon, owned by Paul Lipinski, who is, I think if you were anybody recording this type of music starting in the late 90s up till now, I mean, he's the guy. He's always been the guy. So I don't know how many bands he's worked with over the years. Yellow Card, Red Suit, what is it? Absolute Apparatus, Hat Trick.
Yep.
Did you guys do the Whale Face stuff with him?
Yeah, we did Whale Face at Vision. Yep.
Yeah, but again, like as our first like time recording, together as a band, I mean, it was pretty cool. I think we whipped through that EP in a day, and everything was pretty much a first take. And I don't know. I remember shortly after that, we played our first show with Craig's brother at the legendary Jackrabbits with good old Hat Trick too, and I don't know. It just kind of blew up a little bit for us after that.
And it also shows as well that the fact that you guys actually used that producer for your very first self-titled record, and obviously for your most recent album that dropped a few days ago, it just shows just how amazing his work ethic is and the work he actually does on albums, if you guys are still using him about 20 plus years later.
Yeah, I think every album I've ever put out, Paul's had his hands on in some capacity, whether that was recording or mixing or mastering. And he's phenomenal. He does a lot of stuff in the hip hop world as well. He's got a platinum record on his wall from doing that. So he's legit.
And also as well, December 31st of 2013, I don't mean to make this all about albums, but this album is the one album that really got me into your guys' music, which is a 7-track album titled Rise from the Embers. I was just wondering if you can actually tell us the story and inspiration behind this amazing album, and of course, is it actually still out there to be streamed or purchased today in 2024?
Yeah, it's still out there. That was one that I don't know. I think between our 2006 album Disappear and Embers, we kind of had just a whole bunch of stuff that we just never finished. And I feel like probably a couple years before we actually put that out is when we really started to like, okay, we got a bunch of songs here. We got to do something with them. And I don't know, we just kind of got our butts in gear and got those songs written and recorded. And again, we did it with Paul, and Paul is just amazing. He can just bring so much life to everything we created. But that was a fun one. That still, I think, holds up pretty well. I think people still really dig that.
Yeah, I remember. I wasn't in the band at that time. I didn't play bass on that album. So that was Pete from Inspection 12, correct? On that one.
Yep.
And I feel like I kind of like fell back in love with these guys. It had been so long. I remember sending y'all like a message through MySpace.
I still got that message, man.
Whatever it was, I was just like, dudes, you guys have to know how, like, it just spoke to me. I had to let you guys know how much it spoke to me and like how much I really connected with it. I thought it was phenomenal. So I couldn't be more stoked to be on the next release.
Yeah, I think we kind of go into almost anything we write as if this is the last thing we ever wrote. Like, are we cool with it? Could we just call it a day after this and be happy? And I remember thinking, at least personally after that, like, if this is the last thing we ever did, I mean, I think it held up so well that I was cool. Like, okay, like we can tour on this for the rest of our lives or play show, and then we're good. But the creative bug never actually goes away. So that's why we're all back together and just released another EP, and here we go again.
And it totally holds up. So everyone that's just discovering us should just go back and check it out because it's rad.
Yeah.
And before we actually jump in, to the brand new era of the Softer Side, and of course this brand new album, I have to ask as well, because I do know as well that you guys actually released your very first song before this EP actually got released. your very first song in a decade was actually Don't Forget Me. I was wondering if you can just actually talk a little bit about the hiatus, and of course, what actually made you guys decide to re-emerge and just come back at like bigger and better than ever as well, because you guys actually are together doing what you guys love to do, but it's like you guys never left.
I kind of think that honestly, like the pandemic had something to do with that, because Scott and I started. Scott had a bunch of stuff written, and Brian had stuff written, and we kind of started sending stuff back and forth. Like when we were just working from home all the time, like we had a lot of extra time at the house, and so we just started like demoing back and forth. And Scott and I laid down pretty solid demos, I feel like, and then we sent them to Brian, and he kind of tracked vocals, and that kind of got the process rolling. And I felt like once we finished the demos, we felt like we had something good. If we recorded it well, it would turn out pretty solid. So
yeah, and Don't Forget Me is actually a song that Brian pretty much laid most of the foundation on. And you know, I can't even kind of pin this on COVID, because I think that song had its roots around 2015. We're really good about writing bits and pieces and stuff and just kind of shelving it, and then something happens, it's like, okay, we got to dust all this stuff off and do something with it. But yeah, it's kind of funny that song I think probably came together first out of everything we were kind of writing. And not that we had a theme going into this, you know, album by any means, but all the songs kind of ended up being very introspective, and that was kind of like sort of the catalyst for, I think, kind of how we went, you know, on a lyrical journey on this EP. But yeah, I think Don't Forget Me is a pretty good representation of everything we're about as a band. It's got a lot of the skate punk, it's got some pop punk, it's got the breakdowns, it's got, if you like a metal solo and stuff like it, it's got all those bits and pieces in it. And you know, I think the cool thing about what we do, and it's pretty unorthodox, is when we go into the studio, you know, Tim always kind of does the drums first, and then we get right into the guitars, where most people just go right into bass. And I kind of feel bad for Jeremy a little bit, because he came into this where we had basically everything laid down. And unfortunately, you know, Pete had to step away. But, you know, we were lucky enough. Tim was able to reel in Jeremy for us. But, you know, everything, you know, that you hear bass is all Jeremy's creation. It's kind of like you here's the songs. What do you hear? You play what you hear. And, you know, even though he wasn't with us during like the core writing of that song, everybody has their own stamp on these tunes. So it's pretty cool to see how that one kind of evolved.
Yeah, that was an interesting situation for me. I've never written in that order before. You know, I've written 2 mostly completed songs before, but these were like done. Everything was done except for the bass. But there was also not a lot of post-production done, so I had these like super rough tracks. And I don't know, made it a little bit more challenging. I'll just say that.
But you hit it out of the park, dude. I mean, it's one of my favorite things to go and listen to, and because it's so fresh, because it's the last thing we really did, and it just took those songs and amped them up. I always say, like, bass players get a bad rap for not doing much, but man, if you like bass, this is a good EP. Give Jeremy Baker some mad props for his bass playing on this. It's huge.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I couldn't have done it without your help, and you know, and y'all's encouragement. They were very kind. I would go to Tim's house because you know, we're in Jacksonville, but Scott's in Boston, so I would go to Tim's house, and he would just record me on his phone. I'd be like, "Can we just record this song? I want to see how they feel about it before I, you know, commit. Like, am I in the right area?" And every time I did it, they were just totally stoked, and kind of, you know, lit that fire and gave me the encouragement I needed to just you know, keep going with what I was working on. So appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man.
And also as well, March 6th of 2024, you guys actually released an official press statement on your official website that you guys actually inked a deal with High-End Denim Records. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us the story behind this amazing record deal, and of course, how did you guys ultimately get in contact with them? Because I gotta say, this record deal is so new that the ink isn't even dry yet, but you guys are releasing single after single and EP. I mean, you guys are definitely taking full advantage of this record deal, and I don't blame you guys as well, man.
Honestly, I think it goes back to that first mixing session with Paul. Kind of just, he was getting really amped on everything we were putting together, and he's like, I don't know, there was something about it was like, okay, maybe it's the time that we kind of just start throwing this out, into the ether a bit, see what people think. And we got some attention pretty quickly, but High End Denim just felt pretty right. I mean, when we started talking with them, I kind of felt like just guys we want to hang out with, and they were really, really amped on the tunes, and they believed in them like real quick, and they were just, every time we would communicate, they would get back to us, like, no, we're really into this, and it just kind of felt like a no-brainer at the end of the day, and they've been really awesome to work with. I mean, for me personally, I think I speak to everybody. I think we're really stoked to be on board with them. I mean, they got a great roster of bands to be part of it too. It's pretty cool. So, and we're ready to go. They're ready to go, and we're gonna do some good stuff with these tunes. So it's exciting.
Plus, I do really like a nice pair of jeans.
You do. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's the label name's kind of funny. Softer Side's kind of a stupid, fun, weird name. Doesn't make any sense. So, it's like everything's in parallel with them. So it's great.
I don't know, man. Something high denim. When you said high denim jeans, and something soft as well, I feel goes hand in hand together, man. Like a softer side of a shirt and a nice pair of high end denim jeans.
That's
right
what I'm
then and
talking
there, man.
about.
You're comfy all day long.
I think we're getting some good merch ideas right now. So yeah.
Yes.
Yo.
Softer side of the jeans.
It was a match.
All I gotta say, guys, is shut up and take my money. That's all I gotta say. Take my money right now.
Yep.
We'll have to come back and unveil our special brand of high-end denim softer side jeans right here.
I gotta say, it feels really cool that the people are interested, and that we found someone like them that really wants to do something with this. Because I think, for us, we're not just getting started out, we're not just starting out. We've been doing this for a long time, and it feels good to sort of, I don't know, gain a little bit of appreciation for all the work that we've put in for most of our lives. And it's not about making the money, although, if you want to give me a deal for some jeans, I'm all for it. But, it's more about getting the music that we love out to other people that also love that type of music. And, having someone that's established that's willing to help us on that journey, I think is super cool. And we're really grateful for that.
And also as well, guys, 48 hours ago, Tuesday, April 9th, you guys released your most recent EP titled Deathbed. I do know we briefly were going back and forth talking about this throughout the broadcast, but I was wondering, now that we've actually reached that time, could you actually tell us a little bit more about this phenomenal EP? And of course, are there actually any hard copies available right now to be purchased? Because I do know I listened to this album digitally. I've been listening to it nonstop. I have to say it's phenomenal. So if there was hard copies available and they're now gone, I really don't blame anyone for snagging up every single one, man, because this is a fire EP.
Yeah, we went through the first 1,000 pretty quickly. So we're working with High End Denim right now to get another batch. No, we're gonna do a vinyl release. It's probably coming this summer, but yeah, it's one thing that we're getting pinged a lot about is, okay, where the hell can I get a physical copy of this? And it's coming, but just to have this actually out there, I feel like we've been holding on to these songs for quite a while, and just to get them out there and seeing the response, I think in the past 48 hours has been pretty wild. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but my phone's been blowing up with crazy comments nonstop. So it's been pretty cool. I mean, we always write songs that we want to listen to that, if people dig them, that's great. That's a huge bonus. But, just the response has been awesome. So, we definitely dig the songs, but the fact that everybody, is getting into it too is huge bonus.
And also, I gotta say, my favorite single actually off this album is actually "Every Choice Has Its Own Price." Man, such an amazing song. The whole, like I said, the whole EP is totally rad. But if I had to choose one, man, it's "Every Choice Has Its Own Price."
Yeah, that song, I actually started writing that in probably 2011, 2012, and how that evolved is to what it was to what it is now. It's a very different song. It's actually a much better song, thank God. But yeah, that's another one that I think if you're an old school softer side fan, that'll hit hard pretty quickly. And one of my again, I love it when Tim is playing 100 miles an hour, and that's a good one. That's got a lot of good softer side skate punk roots in it.
Definitely. Scott likes to work me hard. Make me sweat.
But no,
Couldn't
Scott,
have said
when
that
you
any
said
better,
you wrote that song back in 2012, I was wondering, did you actually add or change anything to the lyrics, like when you guys actually went into the studio to record this song, or was everything original from what you actually put into it in
Definitely
2012?
wasn't original.
I do know,
Definitely,
obviously, over
yeah.
a decade.
Yeah, it actually, everybody gets their own stamp. So if, how it usually works is Brian and myself will usually kind of come out with, a basic structure, but then we kind of throw it out and say, where do we go with this? So we definitely jam on stuff a lot. That was one song that when I threw out to Brian originally, he was like, oh, I got a bunch of different ideas for it. So I probably had most of the music written and maybe about 30-40% of the lyrics. And he really kind of amped it up. Tim had some good ideas with the drums. I had drums starting right away, but, Tim is never one or shy to say, maybe we hang back a bit and let that song kind of breathe a little bit just with some vocals and guitar right from the get-go, and then kind of just wallop everybody over the head and come on pretty nasty. So, yeah, that one definitely evolved quite a bit, and I think it was definitely for the better. So
I gotta say, right when you clapped there, Scott, your camera went right off. You had like that clap on, clap off type mic.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Like, I gotta say, that was like,
when I
he
dropped
totally
the hammer, I dropped the hammer. So
I was gonna say you Fonzied it, but you definitely dropped the hammer as well.
At least you can still hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
We can hear you perfectly. Yeah.
All right, awesome.
You should probably go into the other living room, not the one that Tim and I are in.
That's true.
The issue, it's the feedback and
we're all in the same living room, so that's obviously the problem.
Right.
Nice piano, Tim.
But
yeah, you too.
But I was gonna say as well, guys, because obviously High Denim, you guys signed to them. You guys released this amazing EP just 2 days ago. So all this amazing stuff in little under a month. What is next for the softer side? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's broadcast? Anything else you guys still want to touch on, talk about, or promote? Well, we still got you guys here live on the radio station airwaves tonight.
Like Scott said, we're hoping to get the vinyl going, hopefully pretty soon, like a pre-order up for that if everything goes well. We haven't played a show in a while because Scott lives in Boston, like Jeremy said. So we're hoping to kind of start getting together if we can, or maybe like virtual practices, something like that, and just kind of put together a set and hopefully book some shows here in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I think we're also going to have some new merch, some new shirts, some other things going on. I know there's a couple other things we're working on with the label in terms of, a few other things we can't really talk about yet. But, yeah.
Some really nice jeans.
Some really nice jeans. I think that's a big takeaway from this is the softer side jean brand is definitely going to happen. And
it'll be a jacket, too. It doesn't have to be
denim jackets. Yeah. We get some nice,
like a beautiful denim jacket, but it's nice and soft on the inside too. A soft little liner on the inside.
But some gnarly softer side patches on the back.
Maybe some jorts.
Yes.
Oh hell yeah! Some jorts would be nice.
Well, I'm looking forward to all this stuff. I think we got merch coming, we got vinyls coming. I'm hoping that Embers gets a little bit of a boost because I think that record got slept on a little bit, and I think it'll be really cool for people that are into this album to go back and discover that or rediscover that last album. And you know, I don't know. I want to go to Boston and get in that studio and write some songs. So
Yeah, I think the good thing is I think this EP and this whole process of us coming together, this kind of old but new incarnation of the softer side, I think we've been more motivated than ever to just start doing a lot more things, and I think you're going to see that definitely in the coming months and years to come. So I think that's a huge takeaway from what this EP has sort of brought as a whole.
totally.
And I gotta say as well, guys, before we actually part ways here tonight, I was wondering, how do we actually go about following you guys across all social media platforms? That way we can stay updated on the softer side, and especially these vinyls that are actually looking to be geared up to be released this coming summer.
Yeah, you can definitely find us on Instagram and at Softer Side Band, on Facebook, the Softer Side Band. thesofterside.net is our website, and of course you can always find us at highenddenim.com and or highenddenimrecords.com, because if we're going to have vinyl and merch, that's where you're going to get it.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, guys, thank you so much for giving not only myself, but the radio station Airways a bit of your time. Jeremy, Tim, Scott, such an honor speaking to all three of you guys. Like I said, been a fan for so many years, man, so it was such an honor to be able to talk, obviously, to tell the fans a bit more about your guys' history, and of course talk about this amazing EP that you guys recently just dropped 48 hours ago. Again, gotta say the album is totally rad, it's kick-ass, and I really do encourage everyone listening, whether you're watching it live or listening to this on the radio airwaves and you can't see us, I want to just tell you guys to listen to this album because it is absolutely killer.
Good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having us.
I appreciate it. Again, glad you're digging the tunes. I hope everybody, if you haven't heard it, please give it a spin. If you have been listening to it, please keep spinning it.
Yeah.
Most definitely, guys. Again, thank you so much for your time. And hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. Because I do know we only touched base on like a sliver of your guys' legendary careers here this evening. So I do know there'd be a lot more to talk about. So hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Cool. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. No, It's been fun, man. We appreciate the time.
Thanks for having us.
You're most certainly welcome, guys. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Peace.